$9 trillion in new debt added under Joe Biden. Number
Not
two.
true. What were the bills?
Can I finish talking here?
What was the main bill?
Okay. Can I finish talking?
Go ahead.
Okay. There was the Infrastructure Act. There was the Inflation.
How much debt does that?
Okay. Trump was a great president. Hello.
Hello. Okay. So what makes you think, what defines a good president for you?
Good. No new wars. So the most peaceful time we've had in modern American history, almost the best economy we've had in modern American history. Wages going up for blue-collar workers in particular.
Okay. No, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
So starting on point two.
Well, point one. What do you think about point one? World peace.
I don't want to talk about point one.
Oh, you don't want to talk about point? No world peace?
I think world peace is good, but I don't want to talk
like
about
even
it.
Gaza wasn't
Okay.
at war.
Point two.
Okay.
So
we'll get to that later.
Trump had a recession, right, during his presidency. Why is that good for the economy? Why does that result in a good economy? For
Well,
you?
so you mean that the COVID-related situation that we largely recovered back by the fall, 6 months later?
Yeah, I mean, he let it happen, right? He handled COVID bad enough that there was a recession as a result of it.
So which criticism of Trump are you saying? That he didn't lock down the country enough, or that he locked down the country too much?
I don't think he did nearly enough during the beginning of COVID.
Okay, got it. So so he didn't lock down enough businesses and didn't shut down enough places?
I think he could have done a better job of preparing the country. He said a lot of outlandish things that it doesn't matter, and to reduce panic.
Well, he never said it doesn't matter. So he did 15 days to slow the spread, right, with Mike Pence. He also left it to the states. The heaviest lockdown states were California and New York. Do you know that more people died under COVID under Joe Biden than Donald Trump? Donald Trump pushed early treatments.
Oh, wow, shocker. When Trump was voted out of office and then the pandemic continued for 3 years, more people died in 3 years than 1 year.
In the same period of time.
In the same period of time.
Same period of time.
If a building is completely on fire and I need to be the one to put it out, of course, the damage done during my job of putting out the fire, rather than the person who could have prevented the fire from taking place.
So how could Trump have prevented the fire?
He could have done a significantly better job
at
warning people for what was going to happen.
Wait,
if you look at what Trump said in March and February.
Be specific.
Be specific? Okay, so Trump in.
Be more specific.
I'm out.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Greg. Nice to
meet you. You got up so peacefully, so nicely.
So your claim begins with Donald Trump being a great president, right? Why would you say that is?
No new wars. You like world peace, right?
I'd say so, yes.
So under Bill Clinton, George Bush, H.W. Bush, Obama, and under Biden, we have nothing but war. We had war with Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Syria, Libya, Arab Spring. Do you know that there was not a single new war under Donald Trump, first time in 40 years? That's a good thing, right?
Of course, and I would say that that is a good thing. However,
all right, we agree.
About there being world peace, why do you think that there were all these wars? Does that say something about the president, or does that say something about our country's forever war machine, military-industrial complex?
So Trump was against the forever war machine.
Really?
Of course.
Oh.
You know that Donald Trump was the one where his generals actually defied his orders. You know, Mark Milley under Donald Trump called the Chinese Communist Party president and undercut Trump's orders when Donald Trump was the one actually pursuing diplomatic channels. Now, let's just say for 40 years, we had nothing but war.
Okay.
And for 4 of those 40 years, so 36 out of 40, we had war. We had no new wars. Something Donald Trump did. We did not have war in Ukraine. We didn't have war breaking out with Israel. We didn't have war in Gaza. We didn't have Syria, Libya. And it's because Donald Trump pursued a non-interventionalist America First policy, put the military defense contractors on their back. Well, you can run up here if you want. But I think we agree that we don't want war. And honestly, he's changed the orthodoxy of the Republican Party for the better when it comes to war.
Well, to say that he's responsible for the peace that we endured during that term, is essentially insinuating that the president of the United States has a big red button that says war on it, and whenever he presses it, war just breaks out.
Well, it's an interesting point. Let's think about what he did. He authored the Abraham Accords, which brought peace in Israel and the Middle East. He prevented.
Did it? Oh, did it?
Well, for his 4 years, yes. Do you know that Israel and Gaza were not at war in the times of 2017 to 2020? If you guys want, you guys can come up when we're talking. But hold on a second. Let's just be honest. Were the people of Gaza better today, or were they better 4 years ago?
I don't think they've ever been better under Israel's occupation.
So I'm saying better.
These people for years have been in camps, have been raped, have been.
No, I'm not getting into those details, but like objectively, tens of thousands of people in Gaza have died the last couple of months, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Were those tens of thousands of people being bombed when Donald Trump was president?
This war was not happening when Donald Trump was president.
Because they wouldn't dare have done it when Donald Trump was president.
You think so?
No way. I know so.
Okay.
Because I look at 4 years and they didn't do it when Trump was president. How about Putin? Putin didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was president. Why? He invaded under Obama. He invaded
Yeah.
under Biden, but didn't invade under Trump because Trump is the peace president.
Oh, really? He's a peace Okay. So
But
I
no,
think
show me one new war. Show me where I'm wrong. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me. Show me one new war that was started under Donald Trump. Because under Obama, I could show you.
right.
Sorry.
We'll see each other again. It's all right.
Hope so.
I think that was you.
All right, are we gonna debate the Book of Revelation?
No, I won't bring up God this time.
Why don't you talk for 30 seconds and I talk for 30 seconds?
30 seconds. Donald Trump's been held civilly liable of sexual abuse, defamation, fraud. He has 34 felonies. He tried to undermine our American democracy. He tried to restrict women's access to abortion by leaving it up to the states. He denies science through climate change. So you say you care about science with trans people, but not when it comes to climate change. Also, as it relates to Donald Trump, he actively left Kurdistan, which led to the Turkish-Kurdish war under his presidency. He said there was no new wars. He also specifically started a war on ISIS, proclaimed by himself.
He eliminated ISIS. Do you know that carbon emissions were the lowest under Donald Trump they've been in human history? They've gone up under Joe Biden.
That's wrong. Wait, carbon emissions were definitely
Hold
not
on,
lower then than they were in 1700.
I let you talk for 30 seconds, man.
Carbon emission. Wait, but carbon
hold on.
emissions were more in 1700 than they are now.
Hold on. Since we've started measuring carbon emissions since 1970, the EPA.
That's not ever.
Since 1970, let me be more clear. I said 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there. If you want to just scrap that, we
Sorry,
can keep on
but that
interrupting
was
each
ridiculous.
other. Okay, you said some ridiculous stuff too. For example,
for it.
you said the felonies. That wasn't happening when he was president. We could do a whole nother debate on that. We had the best economy ever in American history under Donald Trump. Right now, people can't afford groceries. Inflation is crushing people. We have a wide open border. 10 million people have come across our southern border. We have the most secure border under Donald Trump. We saw blue collar boom. We saw more manufacturing renaissance than ever before. We saw more wages go up. We saw China on its heels. We also saw no new wars, as I've mentioned. We saw the right to try. We saw legislative accomplishments, the largest middle class tax cut in history. What were the other points you mentioned? I want to make sure I respond to them. You said the climate, right? So
yeah.
carbon emissions went down under Donald Trump. We actually saw a green renaissance under Trump. We saw more.
What policy?
What? Because solar panel tariffs.
Okay, so
We put tariffs on solar panels, so solar panel manufacturing came back to America, creating over 30,000 new jobs in the solar panel space under Donald Trump. Very underappreciated accomplishment by him.
Can you give me a single study that indicated that led to lower carbon emissions in the United States?
Why did it lower to low? Yeah, it's actually great. The single study was done by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, because we decided to use our oil and natural gas especially, which is very, very clean compared to just traditional coal and or fracking or fossil fuel extraction. We're the natural gas capital of the world, and under Donald Trump, we were exporting more natural gas than we were importing. And because of that, we saw carbon emissions go down a little bit when he was president, and they've gone up under Joe Biden.
Not globally, though, because if you're exporting more, that would mean carbon emissions are more like globally outside of the United States.
Correct. They are going up
Secondly,
in China. You're right. I'll let you go.
Yeah. So I also just want to recognize the fact that there's the largest investment in renewable energy ever due to the Inflation Reduction Act, and we produce more oil in the United States now than any point in American history. So you can sit there and act like we had the most pro-energy policy, but the most pro-energy policy came from the Biden-Harris administration.
So on average, how long does an oil lease take to mature?
I'm not sure.
5 to 6 years. So the reason we're seeing the oil renaissance is because oil leases that were signed under Donald Trump.
There were more oil leases signed under Biden.
That is not true. That's not close.
Wait, I can show you. I can literally show you. There were more oil leases accepted for drilling.
So 2 examples.
Drilling permits.
Did Biden get rid of the Keystone XL pipeline?
So that was a Supreme Court order. He followed through with it.
No, it was not Supreme
Yes,
Court.
it was.
No,
you want me to show you? I'll literally show you the Supreme Court order.
He unilaterally signed an executive order getting rid of the Keystone XL pipeline.
Due to a Supreme Court order.
Number 2, ANWR, which is the Alaska oil, natural gas. He decided no more new exploration in Alaska. Alaska is as big as the continuous United States. But let's go a step back, okay?
Wait, can I ask you, how did the Biden-Harris administration cause inflation?
The Inflation Reduction Act.
The Inflation Reduction Act didn't cause inflation.
Okay,
Actually, it was deficit reducing.
Spending trillions of dollars we do not have.
It was deficit reducing.
Flooding the zone.
Wait, Trump added more to the debt than Biden-Harris.
That's not true.
8.4 trillion, 4.8 trillion non-COVID related, 4.3 trillion under Biden-Harris, 2.2 trillion non-COVID related.
So it's 9.6 trillion under Biden so far.
What's your source? I can give you
the Congressional Budget Office.
No, Committee for Responsible Federal Budget indicates you're wrong.
Let me finish. First of all.
And the CBO did not say that.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
$9 trillion in new debt added under Joe Biden. Number 2.
Not true. What were the bills?
Can I finish talking here?
What was the main bill?
Okay. Can I finish talking?
Go ahead.
Okay. There was the Infrastructure Act. There was the Inflation.
How much debt does that add?
Okay. Debt and spending are 2 related but not similar things. Under Donald Trump, the federal budget was near $4 trillion a year. What is the federal budget right now?
It's around $5 trillion. I'm not disputing that.
$6.5 trillion.
Yeah, but like you understand, that debt was still more under Trump. So we can pay for it now, but we couldn't pay for it then?
The federal budget is much bigger than it was under Donald Trump.
But we're paying for it.
Number 2, energy prices have gone up. Why have energy prices gone up?
Global supply of oil. So it's related to COVID. It's related to supply chains. Why was there global inflation?
Russia's war with Ukraine.
You still haven't answered why it caused inflation and why there's not global inflation.
Almost all Western democracies decided to deficit spend dramatically under COVID. Correct. So we have
under Donald Trump.
Well, a little bit under Trump. And
Mostly
post-Trump.
non-COVID related spending under Trump. 4.8 trillion for Trump, 2.2
Wait,
trillion for
hold on.
Biden-Harris
Are
for
you
debt-related spending.
Again, are you talking about the debts and deficits incurred under Trump or
Yes.
under Biden?
Debt for under Biden and under Trump.
So under Trump, there was about $4 trillion added to the national debt. It's,
No.
It's $9 trillion.
No, it was
under Joe
8.4
Biden.
trillion,
Okay,
4.8 trillion non-COVID related.
That's just not true. You can make up
That
your
is true. I
numbers.
can show you from the Committee for Responsible Federal
well,
Budget.
that-
I'll show you
you're-
the
you're-
setup.
You're conflating numbers of debts and deficits, and you're conflating them.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Deficits are each year. Debt
Yeah,
is overall
I know
calculated
the
by the
difference,
10
but
year.
Let me ask you a very
by his
simple,
policy.
easy to answer question. Do you at least give Trump credit? We had no new wars for 4 years.
Well, again, there was the Turkish-Kurdish war. Also, what was the new war caused by the Biden-Harris administration?
Putin invading Ukraine.
That wasn't caused by the Biden-Harris
on,
administration.
what-
How was it caused?
Because Kamala Harris went to Munich at the Munich Security Conference 3 weeks before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, and she said Ukraine should become a member of NATO. Also, Tony Blinken went to Istanbul with Boris Johnson, the then sitting Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and obliterated a potential peace deal 5 days into Russia's annexing of Ukraine, which could have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. We have supplied weapons, munitions. We have done everything we possibly can to prevent a peace deal happening in Russia and Ukraine. And the blood of those poor Ukrainians and Russians are on the hands of the Biden-Harris regime. They have not sought peace. They've sought war. It's on them. And it did not happen under Trump. And Putin invaded and annexed Crimea under Biden. So under Obama. Under Obama, Putin got what he wanted. Under Biden, he got what he wanted. For 4 years of Trump, it seems that Putin was on defense. Why is that?
So I don't necessarily say I would say Putin was on defense. What I would say as it relates to this is clearly that Donald Trump and Putin having a relationship and not leading to wars wouldn't indicate that somehow Democrats are worse for war. You're just doing a correlation causation fallacy. Just because two things are associated doesn't mean one
Why
cause the other.
hasn't Biden sought peace?
Wait, let me please finish. Again, as it relates to that, they think that they're going to reload and then reinvade, as they have with Georgia, as they have with Crimea, as they had with multiple other scenarios. So I can point to multiple scenarios where Russia continues to want to invade, and that's why they're specifically not accepting a peace agreement, because they're not going to stop. Okay, you sit there and you believe that they're going to stop, just how Donald Trump believed, right, Putin over U.S. intelligence.
Well, honestly, our U.S. intelligence was wrong.
No, it wasn't. Putin lied. Putin said he didn't interfere in the Russian election. That was proven.
Hold on
They
a second.
interfered.
Our intel agencies have lied repeatedly about many things. For example, who bombed Nord Stream 2?
Wait, but was I wrong with what I just said?
Yes, you were wrong.
How was I wrong? Tell me.
Because our U.S. intelligence agencies have been wrong about every major
But that
core
wasn't wrong.
issue.
Tell me what was wrong about that statement.
Which statement?
The one I just made. Do you forget?
Repeat it.
Okay, so Donald Trump believed Putin over U.S. intelligence as it relates to the Russian interference in our 2016 election.
No, Putin
that was
right.
proven.
Yeah, what did they? How did they?
There was interference, but there wasn't
How?
collusion with Trump that we could prove.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Okay, so yeah, but what interference was there that changed the election?
Yeah, so there were bots that
Oh,
they specifically
bots. You
used
think
on the
bots-
left wing and on the right wing
You
to
think
get people
bots
to vote
changed
for
the 2016 election? Maybe it was because Hillary didn't visit
Well,
Wisconsin or Michigan or
I don't
Pennsylvania.
think the election was stolen. I'm just telling you
Oh,
that,
okay, no, we agree.
that there was
So-
proven Russian interference. I agree that 2016 election was
Okay,
fair
so
and
let's
free.
not spend too much time on it. So
Wait,
do you
can
think
you tell me why there was global inflation?
as I mentioned, because Western democracies all decided to pursue a deficit spending spree.
Wait, so why did it happen in Asia and Africa and South America,
Well,
Central America?
I would put Japan, Australia, the Philippines in kind of a Western democracy.
I said
type
all
mold.
of those places. Literally every continent experienced
Yes,
this inflation, the same
because
trend.
they use the dollar as the global reserve's currency status, and so therefore, when we decide deficit spend, the entire world.
So why didn't it
experienced
happen in the
inflation
U.S. and then happen in the rest of the world? Why did it happen to the same trend?
Because they use the dollar as a global.
That doesn't make
reserve.
any sense, because then it
Yes.
would have happened first in the U.S. and then it would have happened globally.
No,
it wouldn't
we-
have happened
First of all,
globally at the same
we were
time as it happened in the
experiencing-
U.S.
We were experiencing inflation all throughout this entire thing. We just didn't necessarily feel
It was
it.
2021,
Do you
2022,
think-
and
Do
2023.
you think Trump did anything
mainly.
good?
Yeah, the Operation Warp Speed I think was good.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
What part of that was good?
Yeah, so I think it was good to expedite funding specifically to develop vaccines in the United States. I think that was a good thing. I will give him certain things as it relates to what I think he did was good. I'm not going to say every single thing he did was bad, but predominantly speaking, I think it's way more bad than what we see with
Do you
the
think the
Biden-Harris
economy
administration.
was better under
Again,
Trump or under Biden?
So it was in certain respects, it was better under the Trump administration. In certain respects, it was better now. Actually,
That's
right
a-
now
that's an
there's a
honest
higher
answer.
there's higher real median wages right now than there was in 2019.
But
according to the St. Louis
but
Federal
you
Reserve.
acknowledge people don't have purchasing power because prices are up.
Wait, that real median wages accounts for inflation. Did you know that?
Yeah, but you think people right now have the same purchasing power they did under Donald
What
Trump?
does real median wages
Yes,
mean?
it means that they take
accounting
the-
for inflation. So wages have gone up accounting
Again,
for inflation.
This constant condescending thing. I understand what you're saying. Okay, reading real median
I'm not trying to be
wages-
condescending, sir.
Real median wages is can they afford the consumer price index on average, right? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Thank you. He is not gone.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hey,
What's your name?
my name is Win, and I didn't have to trip on the way here,
Good.
so that was my impression of
That's a big
Trump at Air Force One. Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about wars. I wanted to maybe pivot towards another direction in terms of foreign policy. I think Donald Trump was pretty bad when it came to diplomacy with our allies. The world thought we were a joke for a really long time. We withdrew from the Paris agreements. We withdrew from shat on NATO, and so like
we didn't withdraw from NATO.
Oh, I didn't say that. We shat on, or he shat on NATO.
NATO has been better funded than ever under Donald Trump. He got every country to pay more.
I recognize that, but when he fostered a rhetoric, I feel like, with the American people,
Like
and
what?
where
Like, give me examples.
or he fostered an attitude of isolationism, and I think that's really concerning, especially when I feel like one of the biggest concerns right now with Republicans is China, right? China taking over, becoming the leader of the new world, something like that. It's really confusing to me because it feels like at the same time, we also are pushing for like isolationist policies, which will inevitably result in China becoming the leader of the free world. And so it's like, I'm really confused. Like, do we want to remain world leaders and, foster these ties with our allies? Or
is not a term he's ever used. He believes in America first, not America only. And he's been the one that called out China's rise to power, the Chinese Communist Party's annexing or potential annexing of Tibet and trying to do what they're doing with the Uyghur population, also potentially taking Taiwan. Donald Trump put tariffs. He's tried to hold them accountable.
So
what Donald Trump tries to prevent is quagmires that do not benefit the American people. Donald Trump has been a critic of the Iraq War, critic of the Afghanistan War. Do you know what you did not hear once at the Democrat convention? Not a single Democrat say the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War was a mistake, because now the Democrat Party's become the party of war. You heard that the Republican Party. The Republican Party, they said the Iraq War was a mistake, Afghanistan War was a mistake.
Okay, but
and they were mistakes.
Okay, so you're trying really hard to go back to war. I feel like we've talked about war.
Well,
a
I
lot.
said quagmires, right?
Okay,
So
sure.
but China is the enemy.
Okay, yeah, I recognize that. But this is the issue is that we can't like at the same time convince American voters that we should withdraw or essentially just neglect our relationships with other allies. And then at the same time,
he never did.
He has. I feel like
give me an example other than rhetoric, how we did not fulfill our obligations to allies or we turned our back on an ally. Give me one example of that happened under Donald Trump.
So I feel like rhetoric is a fair evaluation of this.
But not if all of a sudden you're paying more money and your enemies are on their heels.
So when you have a rhetoric that
But give me an example of the rhetoric, though.
Okay, so for example, he was very adamant that we pull out of Paris, right? The Paris agreements. So
that was a good thing. That's not turning your back on your allies.
Okay, sure. NATO, right? So with NATO, it was like there was this. Wow, I'm sorry. Okay, with NATO, I feel like there was.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good.
Thanks. Okay. All right. Hello.
Hi again.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I know we have only 2 minutes left. I really want to talk about American workers.
Sure.
So I want to hear from your point of view. How do you think that Trump has helped in that
Well,
sense?
the largest blue-collar boom in American history that was since 1970s, I'll give it that way, with 20% median income for the lowest earners. So the part that the media would not cover is that the people that work with their hands, muscular class, people that bring lunch pails to work, saw the greatest median increase in their wages under Donald Trump's presidency.
Okay, but so would you also contend that there was an increase in jobs for those
Of course
groups?
there were. Yeah, unemployment was super low.
Okay.
We saw the lowest structural unemployment in American history under Donald Trump.
But under Donald Trump, we did actually lose about 2-point-something million jobs.
After COVID,
yeah,
right?
of course, after COVID.
And a lot of those jobs were taken back, meaning like they were lost seasonal and they were brought back.
Right. So of course, COVID did have an aspect of that. But however, we have seen under Democratic presidents repeatedly that we see more increases in jobs. For example, Biden started production of those EV batteries, and so because of that, created a lot of jobs for people that were trying to or that are now working in those factories, right? A lot of worker jobs, blue collar jobs have been created under those, but under President Trump, what you see is maybe there was some creation of those jobs, but we don't see union protections. He doesn't support unions. He doesn't support these people defending their rights.
If that's the case, why did the Teamsters president speak as a keynote at the Republican Party convention?
I'm sorry, I don't know who that.
Well, the Teamsters represents one of the largest unions in the country, over 5 million members. He gave the keynote address on the opening night of the RNC. If Donald Trump was against labor, why would the Teamsters come and give a keynote address at the RNC?
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I did not watch the RNC convention.
No, that's okay. I'm just making a core point that if a party's against labor, they wouldn't have a labor boss speak as their keynote
I can't
address.
speak to exactly what the Teamsters said, but I will say that there's a lot of different. Oh, sorry. Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to come up? Okay. Yeah. Like what I am going to say is that a lot of the union leaders have supported Kamala Harris because specifically, and I'm not like, like saying that Kamala Harris is like, you know, whatever. So
Actually,
amazing.
that's the next topic.
But awesome, sick. I'll come back up for that. But it's really important to consider that under Donald Trump, we did not see an increase in that. In fact, Donald Trump repeatedly keeps on saying that is what he's campaigning on, is
So
he wants to
I just
take
have
away
one,
labor
one
protections.
question. Well, again, we're out of time?
Yeah.
All right. So I didn't know this. Thank you so much.
You want to talk later?
Are we lucky? Are we lucky? Oh, yeah. I've never talked about that topic before.